This is our footwork and agility one workout. This should never be done after a leg workout. Ideally, it's going to be done before you're lifting. Now you're going to need to be a little creative with these exercises. Sidewalk chalk, sticks, using shoes as cones. You need to be creative with this. Now what we're going to work on here is some quick feet to start, but before we even get into that, we need to make sure we get our full dynamic warm-up in prior to. Our first thing, what we're going to do, and again, you need to be creative. I have sticks here I can put down as a line. I also just drew a chalk box on the ground. We're going to start off with a 2-foot side hop. Make sure you follow the program on this. The first thing is going to be slow and controlled, making sure we're absorbing in our hips. Our knees are not buckling in. We're going side to side, simultaneous hit with our feet. Again, hips have got to be the hinge point primarily. Knees cannot roll over the toes. So we're going to follow sets and reps on that, making sure we absorb down nice and slow and hold. Then we're going to go for quick feet. When we do this, again, make sure the feet hit simultaneously, knees do not buckle in. I'll face forward on this so you can see that, and I'm going to move as quick as I can, staying as rigid as possible in my foot, landing on the ball of my foot, and making sure my knees and hips stay at the same bend. Posture is very important, so you can peek down, but make sure your chin is not moving down. From there, we're going to move to a single leg in the same exact fashion. We're going to go slow and controlled first, where we're going to absorb in that hip going back and forth, and then we'll do that fast as well, moving as quick as possible with the same exact philosophy of staying on that toe, making sure the knee, hip stay in that good rigid position. From there, we're going to go to 90-degree hops. When we do this, we're going to start with our feet forward. We're going to rotate them 90 degrees and back. We want to make sure when we do this, those knees don't buckle in. We're going to be in a vulnerable position with that rotation. You're going to see those knees wanting to come in, force them out, keep those hips tight, and keep that continual throughout. Same exact fashion, going slow, and then also going with some speed on those. From there, we're going to move to our Icky shuffle. I'm going to use the box, but again, you can just put 2 sticks down and move through those sticks in a stationary fashion as well. Now remember the rules on this. Number one, we want to make sure we get proper bend, so we want to stay low. Those hips got to be behind us. Good bend at our ankles, knees, and hips. Good neutral spine with your eyes and your chest up. From there, we're going to work on feet staying underneath your body. So when we do this, we want to make sure that foot is directly underneath the hip. It cannot jab outside. This puts us at risk of injury within that knee. It also takes away from the power that that hip can distribute. So I'm going to go through, if you see on the sheet, we're going to go through with a stationary tempo. Now with this, I'm going to go through in a jogging tempo, grooving in my technique. I want to make sure I'm nice and low on this, all right? And then when I transition, nothing changes. We don't get lower as we go faster. We should already be there. And then we're going to move to a speed Icky shuffle. So I'm sprinting, I'm jogging. I'm sprinting, I'm jogging. And nothing is changing except for the tempo of that. We're going to go through that just as the sheet tells you. From there, we're going to move to a stationary to a side sprint. We talked about the 2 most important tools of this being feet underneath your body and making sure you're low. Well, that's going to allow us to explode through our hip on that side sprint and put us closer to where we need to go. If we're jabbing out here to go here, obviously that's not good technique. We want to make sure that that's here so my hip is engaged and I'm closer to where I need to go. The best thing is to have external calls on these. So if you have a partner, we'd like to use that partner to give you the sprint call, or even in the past exercises, give them the change in tempos. But if you don't, that's completely fine. I'm going to go through, just as the sheet says, with the amount of time, all going at a sprinting effort. I get that call, I put my foot underneath my body, I open up that upper body, I push through my hip, and accelerate out 10 yards. Make sure you have a marker so you know where that cone is or where that mark is, and then sprint through that. Establish good standards for yourself. So we're going to do that to both sides. From there, we're going to move to some agility drills. Now with this, you need to make sure you use that same concept of the Icky shuffle within your agility drills. I have some cones set up behind me here. And listen, this can be done with anything. You're going to see in the drill after this, I'm just going to put some shoes on the ground as markers. Now, footing is going to be very important. Try and find flat, solid surface. I'd rather not have you do too many explosion drills on hard surfaces just to try and save your joints. But if that's all you have and you don't have cleats, then I prefer for you to have traction and be safe. Now, with that cut drill, You'll see in the sheet how it has you marked off as far as the distance between the cones. I'm going to accelerate out with good running form, knee drive, arm action. I'm gonna plant my foot underneath my body. I'm gonna push through my hip, just like I did with that Icky shuffle side sprint. And then I'm gonna move to that next cone. Foot underneath, accelerate out, and I'm gonna continue to move. Understanding the footwork that was just established in that Icky shuffle. Now we're gonna do this a couple different fashions. We're gonna go with sprints, we're also gonna go with shuffles, and then we're gonna go with some sprint shuffles. What that looks like, the shuffles first. Push through that outside hip, it's underneath my body. Full extension to get that glute engaged. Get to my next cone, don't reach for it. Foot's underneath, and then push again, and I'm gonna continue through. When we do the sprints to a shuffle or the shuffle to a sprint, all you're gonna do is transition from one to the next. So I'll start with my shuffle, I'll push through, I'll get to this cone, my foot will be underneath, and I'll accelerate out through that hip with a sprint. Drop, shuffle, drop, sprint, or vice versa on that. The next thing I have on here are our figure eights. I'm just gonna use 2 shoes. I'll put these on the ground. Now with this, you're gonna see that there's gonna be some sprints and some shuffles, just as it says in the program, just as we did with the last drill. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna always go inside out. I'm gonna accelerate with knee drive, arm action. As I get here, same rules as with the Icky shuffle and with the cut drill. I'm gonna drop those hips, keep my feet underneath. Body lean has a lot to do with your success. So good inside lean, staying as tight as possible. Make sure you stay in line with that cone, and you're gonna continue to go through. You'll also do this with shuffles as well. With that, it's gonna be the same exact thing. I'm gonna push through, make sure I keep my base, keep my neutral spine, stay nice and low, and shift through. Now, that's gonna conclude our workout 1 for our footwork and agility drills.